Hey everybody, Jack Acid here with my first F1 2012 career race of the I Am No Expert series. And before we get things started, going to go ahead and take a look at my assists. And as you can see, I'm running with no assists, with traction control being the only exception. And we are competing against professional AI. And going to start off our career here with the Toro Rosso. And was thinking about Force India, but I just did a entire season in F1 2011 with Force India, and quite frankly, am just not quite ready to look at that many races in the white, green, and orange. So take a look at Toro Rosso, who I've only raced with once in the F1 2011 series. It's an okay car, and so we'll see what happens here at the start of the season here at Melbourne. And you can see that our objective for qualifying is to finish 14th. Going to go ahead and start off and scan through our qualifying lap here. And this is Q3, so that means that I've actually already met my team objective of qualifying in at least 14th position. And so what I've decided to do, being satisfied with that, is I'm going to go out and give it one hot lap. And if I have any problems with the lap, may consider just being satisfied with 10th and save my tires. As you can see, I go wide here. And that's definitely going to cost me any kind of opportunity to move up here in Q3. And Daniel Ricciardo, my teammate, pushing very, very hard in this opening lap of qualifying for Q3. And you can see that our pace is very, very close. But given the fact that I'm well off the pace with the leaders, and taking a look at my tires, you can see I've burned off a considerable amount of my options. I'm going to go ahead and save those and move on to the race with them, because I'd rather start off on more fresh rubber for the race than worry about gaining, a position or two, given the extent of my tire wear. So I'm running the top 10. I'm locked into these as is, and want to leave it at that and give ourselves a better chance on race day. So as you can see, my teammate qualified P9 right ahead of me, so I lose out on the teammate challenge objective, the first one anyway, but only by one position. See what we can do to make up for it here on this sunny afternoon at Albert Park. And have mixed feelings about Melbourne. It's actually a pretty fun track, but definitely have some corners that I struggle with. As you can see, my team objective is to finish 8th. And let's take a quick look at our strategy. You can see that we're starting off on the option tires because we are locked into the top 10. And this is new to F1 2012. Now we have a race fuel strategy option. And I'm going to go ahead and race on normal. If you race with cautious, you get a heavier fuel load and don't have to manage it as much. If you start on normal, then you have to manage it at least a bit, and then you can also set it to aggressive, which would be lower fuel, but have to manage it quite a bit, your fuel mix, as the race goes on. So going to go ahead and race on normal. I like having a little bit of fuel management. It's one of the more fun parts of the game. So let's see what we can do to start here, starting off right behind our teammate and now trailing Rosberg in the Mercedes. And coming down into turn 1, and you can see pretty good pace and getting pushed very, very hard by the Lotus behind. And trying to make up some ground here, cutting on the inside of Sergio Perez in the Sauber. Now almost wheel to wheel with him as we come along through here, heading down into Whiteford. And able to get up into P5 for now, following Grosjean in the Lotus, which means Kimi is behind, and slicing our way through and up into P3. Settling nicely here behind Vettel in the Red Bull, and I believe Hamilton in the McLaren leading the race right now, heading through turn 5. And taking this flat out through here. And you can see that gaps are very negligible right now. It's always very, very tight in the first lap or two. And that corner in particular can give me a hard time. We'll have to see what happens over the course of 15 laps. Definitely kind of a shock to the system to be racing with 25% race length compared to 20. I know it only adds a few laps, but sometimes even after 12 laps I can get pretty significant cramping, particularly in my right hand using the Xbox 360 controller. It's just very, very intense, so it can get a little tight. Now heading through the very, very fast sweeps of turns 11 and 12, and now you can see Grosjean having a look on the outside and now the inside. Make a mistake coming out of the corner there, and now wheel to wheel with the Lotus. And now he gets ahead of me, now being chased by Alonso, and outbrake Grosjean. Let's see if we can make it stick. We get a couple of wheels in the dirt, but able to regain our composure here. And now let's see if we can keep the Lotus behind as we come to the end of lap 1. And probably going to take you through the opening lap of all of these races as we move along here. It's just kind of good to see how everything starts off. As you can see now, Roman Grosjean thinking about having a go. Looks like he's going to make a move on the inside. He's got the pace. And looks like Fernando is trying to push on the left-hand side, but he backs off now and able to outbrake Grosjean and get back up into P3. So very, very tightly contested race here so far. Now skipping ahead to lap 2, and you can see that now Alonso has moved into P4, and he's having a look on the inside. And heading into turn 11, brake a little too late, but able to keep both wheels on the track and cut off the chicane just a bit, and able to stay ahead of the Ferrari for now. So more close action here. Now skipping ahead to the start of lap 4, and you can see that Alonso is still pushing very, very hard. And you can see we're trimming time off our lap times, but that doesn't mean a whole lot when your rear view mirror is full of Ferrari. And you have to have the feeling that it's just a matter of time before Alonso gets around. Is this going to be it? He's having a look on the outside, but now yields as we turn in through here and trying to stay ahead of the Ferrari, maintaining an inside line through turn 4. Now skipping ahead a couple of sectors towards the end of lap 4, speeding down into Clark, one of the tighter chicanes on the circuit. Very, very challenging to get your entry point right. And you can see that I'm being completely hounded by Alonso and the Ferrari. And you have to think that he might consider making a move here, but looks like he's going to hang back for now. It's only lap 4. No sense in being super aggressive. Just wait for me to make some kind of a mistake, which is bound to happen. And you can see that speeding out of turn 12, we're not able to gain any kind of a gap here. And it's starting to shake my focus just a little bit as we come through Ascari. And you can see I clipped the apex a bit there, getting a little bit nervous. And now speeding through here and trying to stay ahead of the Ferrari and hope to gain a little bit of ground before we come up along this main straight. And you can see that I'm very conservative coming around the last corner there. I believe that's called Prost. And now speeding along here through the main straight, and here goes Alonso. Of course, there's nothing that I can do in my meager Toro Rosso, but let's see if we can take advantage at the braking point. And probably could have made some kind of a move as there's slight contact there with the Ferrari. And now Grosjean getting in on the action. He's able to overtake on the outside, or is he? He's got the nose over me right now, heading down into Whiteford and braking just in front of the Lotus and almost going wide there, but not able to get back around Alonso. And still don't have my line right. Still trying to correct here and get back on pace. And you can see that now the Lotus is just as anxious as Alonso was to get by me. And chances are that's the last that we'll see of the Ferrari for the remainder of the race here, only in lap 5. So got a long ways to go, but still maintaining a P4 position. Can't be too upset about any of that, even though I strongly doubt that we'll end up there. Remember, we do have pit stops here in career mode, and that's where the AI has a chance to shake out, and we can kind of get a true sense for the pace of the car. But the longer that I can keep the AI behind me before the pit stops, the better. And I will gladly take P4 here in the opening round of the season. Now skipping ahead to lap 6, and you can see that we're being hounded by Grosjean in the Lotus, and let's see if he wants to get by me here. And he's going to have a move here on the inside and trying to break down into Whiteford, giving him a little too much room and go off track. This is going to cost me dearly. As you can see, Grosjean able to get by, and now Rosberg and the Mercedes closely behind, and he's also able to exploit my mistake. And basically got my braking point all wrong, trying to avoid contact with Grosjean, and it ended up costing me 2 positions. So now skipping ahead here to the end of that lap for our pit stop, and this is our first pit stop in F1 2012, given that this is the first career mode race that I'm doing. And honestly, the tires don't look too bad. You may have just noticed the graph went away, but my tires didn't look super bad. So that might be something that I want to play with as the season goes on. And team able to get us out in 4.6, little over, and that's pretty terrible, especially considering that it was a mostly empty pit lane, so that's sort of disappointing. And one quick note here, the game will give you a penalty if you cross the white line coming out of the pit lane, and that's true for all circuits, so you got to be very careful not to do that. Extremely easy to do. I learned that the hard way on a couple of practice sessions that I've done. And so something to think about. Now skipping ahead here to lap 7, the end of lap 7. And as you can see, we're maintaining a P10 position, hoping to leapfrog some of the AI coming out of the pit lanes. Let's see how busy it is. And now starting to see a handful of cars. There's our teammate. He's coming out now. And it looks like we'll join behind the Sauber, managing my fuel here. And miss my braking point and contact with Perez. I was basically managing my fuel mixture and looked up and misjudged what braking point I was at. I thought that I was at the 100-yard mark, and I was at the 50. And slammed right into the back of Perez, and unbelievably, no penalty for that. And even more remarkably, my wing is still mostly intact. I'm not going to have to pit, but you can see that I'm very, very spooked. And of course, the car does mishandle a little bit when you get front wing damage. It does affect your cornering and it's very, very difficult to overcome depending on the circumstances, but thankfully we're able to avoid the second pit stop. And that was basically very, very forgettable. Of course, it would happen in lap 7. I guess it's better than the final lap, but hopefully we can make up some ground. And you can see that my teammate hounding me now here in lap 9 and desperate to get around me. So Ricardo, very, very anxious to have at it here. And if I'm going to be dealing with this kind of pressure, it's only going to be a matter of time before I'm going to have to let him by. But going to try and keep him at bay for now, as we've got just over 5 laps to complete at this race. And now you can see he was considering a move there on the outside, but able to stay ahead. And he is on me like glue right now. So trying to maintain my focus and maintain a P8 position. Definitely don't want to fall out of the points. But judging by this pressure, it's fair to think that Ricardo's going to have the pace over me in the straights. And if he's able to get by me there, I'll let him by. But going to defend my position through the corners. So now skipping ahead here to lap 11. And you can see I'm under pressure from Hulkenberg now. And as you can see, we're up into P7 thanks to a pit stop coming around in one of the previous laps. But now trying to keep the Force India at bay. And now Schumacher has overtaken Hulkenberg, and he's pushing very, very hard now. And start to break a little bit late, and you can see that I go wide here, and that's going to give Schumacher a look on the outside, but now he backs off. And just trying to keep it on the racing line, coming up the main straight, burning off as much curves as I can. Anything that I do have left, try and reserve it for this straight here. And you can see that we're able to stay ahead of the Mercedes, surprisingly. But here, just at the start of lap 12, got plenty of time for things to go wrong. So now I just need to refocus and get my bearings. Skipping ahead here to lap 12, and you can see still under very good pressure from Schumacher and the Mercedes. And start to go wide here, and always usually have a problem at that corner at least once during the race, and been pretty clean up until now. But you can see that somehow able to stay ahead of Schumacher. And unbelievably do not lose a position, and you can see I'm being very ginger through that chicane, and that's sure to upset the AI behind. And obviously still feeling shaken up from that little off there at the chicane, and misjudged my entry point and broke way too soon. So now coming here through turns 11 and 12, and let's see if Schumacher can make a move on the exit, and he's not able to, and we're able to keep him at bay. So now skipping ahead here to the end of lap 13, and Schumacher's now out of the picture, but Ricardo, my own teammate, having a move here on the inside, able to overtake me using DRS, and now being hounded by Kobayashi, and able to get back ahead at turn 1. Very, very fast corner there, and was very anxious to avoid contact with my teammate. That would have been a disaster, but was feeling pretty upset that he had overtaken me, so trying to keep him at bay now, and you can see that he's still giving me all kinds of problems here on the final lap. Let's see if we can keep him behind us and finish up here in P7. Short of a major off, we can at least be assured of some points here. But of course, I would like to finish ahead of Ricardo. Now coming around one of the final corners here, and you can see that almost go a little too wide to let Ricardo by, and now being very careful on my inside track position. And here we go. I have no curves left. Going to have to hope that my pace has the better of him. And now he's moving around on the outside, and he's able to beat us at the last minute, pushing us down into 8th position. That is a major disappointment, and to his credit, he was giving me trouble for the last handful of laps, and at the very end he was able to basically draft me and slingshot around to get ahead and steal the position. So not much I could do given that I had no more curves. I was basically left in his clutches. But I guess I can't be too hard on myself. We were able to finish 8th after all, and that's good for some points, and double team points for the team. That's got to exceed Toro Rosso's expectations. I'm sure they were expecting us to finish somewhere between 12, 13, 14, something like that. So pretty happy with the team start, that's for sure. So now off to Malaysia for our second career race, and just to give you kind of a heads up, these races take quite a while for me to plow through, and there's a lot more editing involved because they are much longer races. Got to get through about 25 to 30 minutes of capture every time. So they do take time, and I'll be posting them as often as I can, but not exactly sure how often it'll be. I'm sure within a couple weeks of each other, ideally a lot sooner than that. Going to depend on what time I can put into it. So hope you guys will be patient with me as we work through the release schedule. But in the meantime, feel free to check out my channel. I've got a F1 2012 Season Challenge series going right now, so that could keep you occupied in the meantime. Also have a number of F1 2011 and Forza 4 commentary videos. and you can find links for all those playlists in the description here. So I have content aplenty, so going to go ahead and leave you guys here with this last clip of the overtake here by Ricardo. A maneuver that was as sickening as it was impressive, but oh well, maybe next time. Thanks again, everybody. See you soon.